I gotta react to this.
Are women in Islam oppressed? The media always portrays Islam as oppressing women, stripping them away from their rights. But is this really true? Today, let's look at the facts and decide together. The hijab cannot be forced in Islam. Islam promotes freedom of choice.
Okay, so this is what happens when you are deceived or just outright ignorant or just want to lie to people just to lie to people. This video is very disturbing to me because as a woman, I feel like either she doesn't have enough information on Islam or she's just ignored a lot of the passages that clearly show that Islam does in fact oppress women, can oppress women, and is blatantly violent towards women.
Islam is free choice. The hijab is a choice. It's a statement of devotion to your creator. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of dignity. No one can tell you what you can and cannot wear. Not your husband, not your father, not your brother, no one. And not just what you can't wear. They can't tell you what to do in religion, period.
Now, I don't want to focus too much time on this whole hijab thing because it gets a little tricky. Let's just go to a website, hijabo.in, and let's hear what they have to say about the hijab. So it says, according to the Holy Quran, wearing a hijab is a must. A woman who does not wear a hijab or finds difficulty wearing is definitely committing a sin. The hijab concept is that it protects the modesty of women by covering their hair externally, but internally also protects their innocence, as stated in the Holy Quran. It is a proven fact that it is mandatory for a woman who has taken Islam as her religion and believes in faith of Allah to wear a hijab. And they even back it up with a Quran verse. As whoever obeys Allah and his messenger, fears Allah and keeps his duty to him, such are the successful. Not only did this website have an understanding of how the hijab is mandatory, in fact, they actually have an understanding of what happens when you don't wear the hijab. So here it says the punishment for not wearing hijab. The punishment for not wearing the hijab varies significantly depending on the country, legal system, and interpretation of religious law. Here is a general overview. In the countries with strict Sharia law, punishments can range from fines to imprisonment, public flogging, or even more severe penalties depending on the severity of the offense and the interpretation of Islamic law by the governing authorities. And the reason why her video is detrimental is because if she's trying to claim to be a Muslim and other Muslim women in countries like this are wearing a hijab and then they want to take their hijab off, they can receive one of these punishments. According to the information regarding what Sharia law actually is, it states this: fundamental religious concept of Islam. Sharia, the fundamental religious concept of Islam, namely its law. The religious law of Islam is seen as the expression of God's command for Muslims and in application constitutes a system of duties that are incumbent upon all Muslims by virtue of their religious belief. So Sharia law is governed by God's command. And if it's governed by God's command, that would mean that it's mandatory.
All right, so the next topic is, are women seen as less than a man? What does the Quran say, ChatGPT?
In Islam, men and women are considered equal in spiritual worth and duties. The Quran emphasizes both have the same potential to earn rewards and seek closeness to God, as seen in verses like Quran 33:35, which highlights their shared opportunity for spiritual growth.
So, men and women are seen as completely equal in the eyes of God.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, that's really cool. But I wonder, does Islam teach that men have to see women as equal?
Yes. In Islam, men are required to treat women as equals in their worth, dignity, and rights, as emphasized in both the Quran and Hadith. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Indeed, your women have the same rights over you as you have over them." This highlights the principle of mutual respect, fairness, and balance in relationships, where men and women are both granted rights and responsibilities. Islam encourages men to honor, support, and treat women with kindness, recognizing their equality in humanity and spiritual value. Any injustice or mistreatment is a violation of these core teachings.
Now, I love how at the end of that clip, the robot tries to say that any injustice or ill treatment is considered, wrong. I can make a whole hour, 2 hour video about the injustice and mistreatment of women in Islam, but let's just go over a couple of these sources right here. So here we have a hadith where you can clearly see it's graded Sahih, and it literally says, women have become emboldened towards their husbands. He, the prophet, gave permission to beat them. I don't know anywhere where Muhammad gave permission for the women to beat men, but here you are literally able to put your hands on your wife, and Muhammad is okay with that. Not only that, Muhammad actually married a 6-year-old and had intercourse with her at the age of 9. And it doesn't stop there. He actually put his hands on her, struck her in the chest, and caused her pain. Not only did he have intercourse with a 9-year-old girl, he actually abused her by hitting her in the chest and causing her pain. Not only that, he had some bold statements about women. So if you guys think that you're treated equal in Islam as a woman, let's hear what your prophet said about women. Did you know that he said, "Never will succeed such a nation as makes a woman their ruler"? So he doesn't believe a nation can succeed if a woman is ruling it. He also said that the majority of women will go to hell. And in that same passage, he literally says that the women are deficient in intelligence, and that is the reason why 2 witness statements equals 1 man's statement. And then he also said, if a man calls his wife to bed and she does not have intercourse with him that night, the angels will curse her until the morning. So yeah, all of this equality and women aren't oppressed, there is a lot of tricky stuff here that can force a woman to think a certain way when she reads these and she wants to be a good Muslim.
What were the rights of women before Islam? Did Islam bring women more rights, or did it strip them away from their rights?
Before Islam, women in many societies, including pre-Islamic Arabia, were often treated as property, sold in markets, denied inheritance, and subject to practices like forced marriage and even the burial of female infants. Islam brought significant changes, introducing rights to education, inheritance, financial independence, and consent in marriage. Many of these rights, revolutionary at the time, were not seen in any parts of the world until centuries later, marking a transformative shift in how women were treated in society.
Wow, that's crazy. What do you guys think?
Now, this is the embarrassing part. All it takes is a little bit of research into your religion for you to find exactly what you need. But when you actually deep dive and do a real study of what that religion teaches, you will sometimes find stuff that you don't want to read. And I think this may be what she did, because here on this part, that robot is literally lying to her. It's telling her that before Islam, women were treated as property, traded, and etc. But it's funny because this is exactly what Muhammad was doing with the Arab captive women that they were dealing with. Not only were they suffering from the absence of their wives, trying to have intercourse with these women and pulling out, if you know what I mean, just so they can sell these women, they were also doing this in front of their husbands. Now, may not be directly in front of their husbands, but in the area of their husbands, which is insane. And Allah comes down and says, don't worry, guys, all married women are forbidden except those whom your right hand possess. So, as long as you're a captive, Muslims can have their way with you because the Quran allows it. So, yeah, if you're going to ask, what do I think? I think that you need to stop talking to that robot, and I need you to do some real studying on your own, because that robot and whatever Muslims are allowing you to parade this foolishness are lying to you, and they are using you to spread this message so they can get as many people as they can in Islam. See, Islam doesn't really care about the truth of its religion being spread. They actually don't even really care if ignorant people like you are spreading Islam. As long as you bring a massive amount of people into Islam, that's all that matters. There may be some people that have issues with what you're preaching, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because as long as you get 500,000 views on that video and bring more women to Islam, that's all that matters to Muslims. I think it's embarrassing. I think you need to do some real studying and stop making these foolish videos, lying and deceiving people, especially women who enjoy you and your content. Stop deceiving them into joining Islam.